What is up, you guys? I am just hanging out here in a little random park I found. I've been at a coffee shop down the street getting some work done, but I wanted to come on really quickly and share what I've been doing for the past week, kind of 2 weeks, which is my dopamine detox, technology cleanse, social media cleanse, whatever you want to call it. It's really a dopamine detox is what it was. And so yeah, I just want to come on and share my experience about that, a little bit about what it is, what it was like, and my results. So yeah, I guess first of all, I'll just cover what dopamine is. Essentially, dopamine is a chemical that is produced in the brain. Oh, and I should start this by saying, like, I paid for a course on how to do a dopamine detox and learned a lot about it. The reasoning behind it is, I guess going back to what dopamine is a chemical that's produced in the brain, and it's tied to reward and motivation, productivity, things like that. So all throughout tens of thousands of years that humans have existed, right, we've had dopamine. And back in the day, like the caveman days, it was used for, you think about what life was like back then, it was used as a motivator. So like if you were to reproduce or build shelter or go hunting, you would get dopamine from those things. Obviously nowadays our lives are very different with the technology and the convenience that we have, but that chemical is still there, and it can get abused in a world where you're filled with constant stimulation, easily to access large amounts of dopamine. So for example, social media, the internet, all these different apps that we have, a lot of those are designed by the people in the tech industry to create dopamine, to keep you addicted in a way and staying on those platforms, right? Like that's how those companies make money. You spend more time on their platform, and you get dopamine from that. So whereas, thousands of years ago, you would have had to, seek out a mate. You have to stand the test of time and prove yourself as a human to live that long, and then seek out a mate, right? And then get dopamine for that. Nowadays, we can open Instagram and you see someone in a bikini or whatever on a beach, and you get a huge hit of dopamine that used to be used for being productive in your life. Now you can get those brain chemicals in just an easy manner, like scrolling, right? Think about how many hours we spend a day scrolling and getting those dopamine hits. And so that's a little bit about what dopamine is. And the reason that I wanted to go on a little cleanse is because I noticed that a lot of the time, and maybe some of you guys can relate to this, I was procrastinating too much and spending too much time getting dopamine from those sources that are not productive to my life. So like scrolling social media, watching TV, not really working out as much or whatever. Like it's obviously easier, right, to get the easy access, instant gratification from dopamine, like scrolling on your phone and social media, than it is to do a whole workout and get positive dopamine from that after completing that, or to get work done and get good dopamine for accomplishing something like that. So for me, I was just feeling a little bit like it was hard to focus. I was spending too much time doing these things that weren't productive, and I had known a little bit about dopamine and dopamine detoxes and all of that. And you just know, if you're someone who spends a lot of time on your phone or social media or whatever, whenever you're spending a little bit too much time on it, right? So I was kind of feeling all of those different things. So I had looked it up on YouTube a while back. Like, you definitely don't have to pay for a course to do a dopamine detox. I just happened to find one that I like and wanted to invest in, but you can learn about it for free, and there's different guided ones on YouTube, or I'm sure if you Google it as well, you can learn about it and do the cleanse on your own. Essentially what the cleanse was, I did a 7-day one, and you can tailor it to your own needs, but essentially the idea is cutting out all sources of negative dopamine. So what did that look like for me specifically in the one that I did? It meant no social media. So I deleted Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat, deleted all that off my phone. And I decided to go with the hardcore version because I'm the type of person where if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it all the way. So I then did no phone as well for the most part. So like I turned off basically everything on my phone except I could get calls, and I put my phone in a drawer for a week, and it stayed there for a week. I also did no TV. You can do no snacking on different things, like only sticking to the certain designated meals a day and eating healthy foods. I cut out coffee, caffeine. Can you believe it? Me of all people, if you know me. I'm like a Starbucks fanatic. I would go every single day. My Starbucks bill every month is ridiculous, but yeah, cut out caffeine because that's a stimulant, right? So basically cutting out all negative forms of dopamine. So for me, it was a complete flip of my life because my life revolved around social media, internet, coffee. Yeah, so what the heck do you do, right? So that's a little bit about what it was. It was very difficult at first. I kind of had to wean off the coffee, but the social media and TV and really technology in general, I quit cold turkey. And the results have just been absolutely more than I could have expected. I did it with my partner, Matthew, because he was feeling the same kind of way as me. And we thought, you know what, might as well do it together, help each other through it. And I have gotten more done in the past week, 2 weeks since starting than months before. Like those things, you know, that always sit on your to-do list in the back of your mind and you'll think, oh, I'll get around to it. Did all of that in a week, because if you don't have your phone to go to, if you don't have those negative sources of dopamine to distract you throughout your day, you naturally gravitate towards actually doing things and being productive. So I just realized several things from this. Number one, that chances are you don't have a lack of time. So if you're the type of person that feels like you never have enough hours in the day, you can never get the things done that you want to do, you have a whole list of things, but you, for some reason, every day can't seem to complete it, you don't have a lack of time. You have an abundance of distractions. Trust me, if you cut out those distractions, the time is there to get those things done. So that was a big thing for me, and I ended up reading was a big go-to of mine, which I used to love reading back in high school. And I'd actually get grounded from reading as a kid because it was something I enjoyed and spent so much time doing. Whenever I got in trouble, they grounded me from my books because that was something I enjoyed so much. And I hadn't read a full book really since, a fiction book at least, since high school. And just having that hobby back was so freaking cool. I read an entire full novel nonfiction book in a week, and I hadn't done that in a decade really. So that was something that was huge for me. It's just like rediscovering that hobby, and then yeah, just realizing that there's not a lack of time in the day. There's just an abundance of distractions was a big realization for me as well. Yeah, so that's pretty much what the detox consisted of. It's not too exciting, but I would say the other big takeaway that I had was learning how important having structure is. So some kind of schedule or some kind of routine, and really planning out your days, your weeks, your weekends, all of that was huge, because whenever you're missing all your sources of things that take up your time, obviously you have nothing else to do. So what do? You have to plan and make those things happen. So I scheduled a lot more hikes and planned for that on the weekends, brunches, meeting with friends that I normally would kind of flake on or whatever, reading books, planning on doing things around the house. It's necessary almost to be able to run your life and not have your life run you, to have structure and some sort of a plan and organization. That's something I was really bad at before this, and I'm super grateful that it gave me that, because now I can go into my day or my week and I know the different things that I can plug into my day or week to be able to get done. So that was huge for me as well. Overall, honestly, it's been, I'm gonna say, life-changing, not to be dramatic, but the course that I did, there's a person guiding you, and they guide you through journaling every day and really digging into why are you distracting yourself? Why are you not getting these tasks done or getting work done that's going to lead you towards your goals that you have? Why are you putting that off? Or what emotions maybe are you avoiding by being on these distracting I'm getting distracted right now because someone's walking by. But what emotions or things are you avoiding by being distracted by your devices or the internet or whatever, these bad habits all the time? It actually really went deeper than I expected. But yeah, I would say for that reason, it changed my life, forced me to be uncomfortable and do the things that you normally put off and face some of the things that you normally don't face. And yeah, I'm excited now to come back to social media land somewhat. Actually, was cool to see that while I was offline, doing the detox, I would allow myself a certain amount of time, maybe in the morning and one chunk of time in the evening, to get on my laptop, and I would sit down, pull it out, and only know that I was getting on there for work, like responding to messages and emails and stuff like that, because I do have a business online and work online, and that's okay, right? That wasn't a negative source of dopamine that I was getting from that. It was getting work done, but my business actually did great while I was absent, which is so cool. Like, I had a fear before I started this of like, oh my gosh, you run a business online, Tyler, like how is this gonna work being not online? But I did like over $10,000 in sales in my business the entire week, which was really cool to see. So just know that if you're someone who works online, has a business online, or if you want to do that and you're afraid that you always have to be on it, you don't. That's why you have things like automation and different softwares and systems in place that can still have your business running for you. But yeah, I'm coming back. I'm still learning I have to watch some of the videos again. There's videos on integrating back into regular life while keeping the positive habits that you've gotten from the detox. So I've still got to go through that. I'm still working out how I'm going to integrate and run my business and be on social media, but not to the extent that I was. But I'm just so excited to have this free feeling, I would say. Like, there's less anxiety. I always had, like, I wouldn't say bad anxiety, like it comes in spells of the degree of how bad it would get, but always had this general buzzing in my head of like, there's something to do that I'm not doing, or just a general sense of like being anxious, and that went away, which was really freaking cool. So I realized that what that buzzing was just me being always distracted and on my phone rather than sitting with myself in the present and realizing like, hey, everything's okay in the moment, you know? And I'm going to keep the habit of leaving my phone in the drawer at night and not touching it for the first few hours a day. I think that alone, if you're looking for some type of change and you don't want to commit to a full detox, just putting your phone away at night and not touching it until you're done with your morning routine or whatever, that alone will change your life. So that's something I'm definitely going to keep up. But yeah, just wanted to come on and explain where I've been for the past week or two, if you guys noticed it all, and what I did, and share the benefits of it. And definitely encourage you to look into it if you feel like it's resonating with you, and excited to be connecting with you all online in a healthy way again.